Well, hey everybody, and welcome back. Well, we've got a little one today that's apparently Boris is going to unveil the final Brexit offer to the EU, so let's just jump right into this, shall we? And there we go, UK PM Johnson to unveil final Brexit offer to EU. Manchester, England. Prime Minister Boris Johnson will on Wednesday unveil his final Brexit offer to the European Union and say that if Brussels does not engage with it, Britain will stop talking and leave on October the 31st regardless. You know, I actually fucking really hope so. But still. In his closing speech to his Conservatives' annual conference, Johnson will stick to his hardline on Brexit, offering the party faithful details of what he will describe as fair and reasonable compromise. With less than a month left until Britain is due to leave the EU, the future of Brexit, its most significant geopolitical move since World War II, is uncertain. It could leave with a deal or without one, or not leave at all. It better fucking leave, otherwise there will be fucking riots in the goddamn streets. But still, my friends, I'm afraid that after 3.5 years, people are beginning to feel that they are being taken for fools. They are beginning to suspect that there are forces in this country that simply don't want Brexit delivered at all, he will say according to the extracts released by his office. Yep. Well, I haven't seen these extracts. If anybody has seen these extracts, anybody watching this, anybody new, but actually I've noticed that I'm getting absolutely fuck all views on these things. Guess YouTube's doing its thing anyway, but still. Anybody can leave me links to anything. If anybody can find that, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, moving on. Let's get Brexit done on October the 31st so in 2020 our country can move on. I hope it can, and we hope we get out. I really do, because I don't want battles to happen in the streets anyway. In a strategy that will define the future of Brexit, the EU and his premiership, Johnson is betting he can get enough concessions from Brussels to persuade Brexit supporters in the British Parliament to ratify any deal. Johnson has been firm that October 31st deadline will be met, but Parliament has put roadblocks in his way, passing a law that requires him to ask the EU for a delay if he fails to secure an acceptable deal at an EU summit on October the 17th through 18th. Right, okay, well see, this also, little deal, the Ben bill, the law that they've put through, right, is fucking unconstitutional as far as I'm concerned, right, especially under UK law. Right, when they're asking to see private emails and stuff, that's against the Espionage Act. I'm pretty fucking sure, right, anyway. Also, they give all the power to how long the extension could be, you know what I mean, is entirely up to the European Union. So it could be fucking 5 years. And we'd have to wait another 5 fucking years to all their fucking rules and regulations and bullshit notions that they think are good. That are really fucking not, trust me on this. But anyway, right, let's keep on with this. On Tuesday, sterling had dipped to a 1 month low of, right, fuck off, is that all? A $1.22, blah blah blah, became increasingly nervous about the possibility of a deal. On Wednesday morning, it was trading at 1.228, I don't care. Weighed down by fears that Johnson's proposal would not produce an agreement. Doesn't seem mega bad, we're only talking, what, 23.63%, I don't care. Moment of truth. Ooh. The EU has repeatedly asked Britain to come up with a legal and operational proposal for the changes Johnson wants to deal that as Professor Theresa May negotiated with the bloc last year. Yeah, the surrender deal, the original surrender document that would have made Britain a vassal state that even the traitorous John Bercow said will not get through unless it has significant changes, you know what I mean? And you know how much of a Remain fucking shit pig he is. But, moving on. This is the moment of truth, Conservative Party Chairman James Cleverly, I'm sure that's Cleverly, said, adding that the EU must see the need to compromise if it wanted to avoid no-deal Brexit, which would mean no measures to soften the sudden rupture of trade and cooperation agreements that have been in force for decades. Following its rejection 3 times by Parliament, Johnson has demanded changes to the withdrawal agreement, especially over new arrangement with the bloc for the border between the British province of Northern Ireland and the EU member Ireland. Yeah, the backstop. That's a sticky one, even I don't comment on that shit. Because I have no idea how to fucking resolve that. That smarter people than I need to fucking deal with that shit, but still. But weeks of talk since Johnson took power have made little headway, and British officials described the proposal to be unveiled on Wednesday as final offer. As a final offer, should I say. The Telegraph newspaper cited briefing to European capitals to report that Britain was proposing to leave Northern Ireland in a special trading relationship with EU until 2025, after which Belfast would decide whether to remain aligned to the bloc or return to following British rules. Yeah, well, that's one of them. It would be nice to find out if something like that would happen, but to be honest, I just don't know enough about the backstop and all that, so just we'll move on for that again. The newspaper said London was proposing that Northern Ireland leave the EU customs union at the end of the transition period in 2021 alongside Britain, which would move directly into a free trade agreement with Europe. Yeah, the WTO terms as well, right? We go straight onto the World Trade Organisation terms, right? If we leave without a deal. Honestly, the scaremongering's mental with this. Right. Custom checks would take place at a distance from the Northern Ireland border, which would have become the border of the EU's tariff-free international market. Nobody will work on delay. The proposal would be aimed at replacing the so-called backstop, an insurance policy to prevent the return of a hard border on the island of Ireland that has become the biggest hurdle to securing an agreement with Brussels. That would be a shame, because you can drive right from Northern Ireland into Southern Ireland. It's quite pleasant, actually. You don't get stopped, you don't get moaned. You can go to Belfast and go to Dublin and all that, and then, you know what I mean, it's brilliant. You can go between the two quite happily. That would be a bitch if that stopped, but I would understand if I had to. But anyway. A senior British government official said the government is either going to be negotiating a new deal or working on no deal. Nobody will work on delay. Well, I hope that's true. We will keep fighting to respect the biggest democratic vote in British history. The EU is obligated by EU law to only negotiate with member state governments. They cannot negotiate with Parliament, and this government will not negotiate delay. Johnson is gambling that by taking a hard line on Brexit, he will steal votes from others such as the Brexit Party led by veteran Eurosceptic Nigel Farage at an election widely expected to come before the end of the year. Yes, and if Boris doesn't take us out by October, the Tory party will be crippled, and we may end up with a Labour government, and I really don't want that to happen. I especially don't want a Liberal Democrat. Actually, nobody except for Tories, and I don't even trust the Brexit party to run the government, because Nigel Farage is only good for one thing, and that's getting fucking the UK out of the EU. That's it. So anyway, let's continue. He also had the main opposition Labour Party in his sights and will use his speech to attack its leader Jeremy Corbyn, who has led offers to try and block a no-deal Brexit. Can you imagine another 3 years of this? That is the Corbyn agenda. Stay in the EU beyond October 31st, paying £1 billion or €1.2 billion a month for the privilege, or whatever that is, followed by years of uncertainty. Is that a dollar sign? Nah, I don't fucking care. Followed by the years of certainty for business and everyone else, he will say. That is why we're coming out of the EU on October the 31st. Let's get Brexit done. We can, we must, and we will. There we go. Any more there? Nope, that is it. Okay. So, I know for a fact that Jeremy Corbyn will be a terrible, terrible leader, right? And not just because he's a fucking socialist, communist, fucking the Commissar Corbynov. No, he will be a terrible Prime Minister because he spent the entire of his younger years associating with terrorists, right? Idolising terrorists and being a complete Eurosceptic. In fact, I'll pop up a video right now of Boris Johnson himself ripping him a new one about his flip-flopping over this.
The right honourable gentleman has been captured, he has been jugulated, he has been reprogrammed by his honourable friends, he has been turned now into a Remainer. He has turned Labour into the party in all the flip-flops he has performed in his tergiversating career. That is the one for which I think he will pay the highest price.
There we go. Right, and just because I think it's brilliant, here's another clip of Boris Johnson at his speech saying something fantastic.
So many reasons to be confident about our country and its direction, and yet I feel sometimes we're like a world-class athlete with a pebble in our shoe. There is one part of the British system that seems to be on the blink. If Parliament were a laptop, then the screen would be showing, I'm afraid, the pizza wheel of doom. If Parliament were a school, Ofsted would be shutting it down or putting it in special measures. If Parliament were a reality TV show, then the whole lot of us, I'm afraid, would have been voted out of the jungle by now. But at least we'd have had the consolation of watching the Speaker being forced to eat a kangaroo testicle.
Okay, well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. As always, leave me a comment if you like it, if you don't like it. As I've said, if you do actually manage to watch this and anybody actually gets notified that they get this video up, because I have got a couple more subscribers and I appreciate you guys subscribing to me. I really do. I know it doesn't seem like many subscribers, and trust me, there's not anymore. But I am happy to have you with me. I'm happy the guys who have subscribed to me from a couple of years ago and are still subscribed to me, I appreciate that. Guys, leave me comments. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one.